Good afternoon, friends. It's Wednesday, October 21st. Time for the daily reflection. Yesterday, we had a celebration of life service for Darcy Adams. For those of you who do not know Darcy, let me offer you a little bit of background story. It was in the spring of 2005 when I had been here as the interim pastor for just a short period of time, when Darcy and Gay came to me and asked if I would meet with them. We sat down at a church function, and I think it was a lunch of some sort, and he told me that he was on the heart transplant list, and he wanted me to be there for him. Well, not necessarily for him, but rather for Gay and Mary, his daughter, his mom and dad, Gloria and Jim, and they were hoping that Sean, who was in the military, would be able to get some leave and be able to be home for the surgery whenever that took place. So a couple of months later, on July 12th, I think, I got a call from Darcy that said that he and Gay were on their way down to Palo Alto because a donor heart had been located. The surgery finally started early the next morning, and all day long I remember us waiting, wondering, praying, walking in the hospital and in that waiting room for news that the surgery was finished. Well, Darcy came through surgery in good spirits, good shape, and after months of recovery, moved back to Vacaville, and his life continued. Now, those of you who know anything about transplants know that the patient is on a lifelong process of anti-rejection drugs and constant monitoring of everything about their life. Darcy was no exception. He had good years, and he had bad months and weeks, because balancing the drugs and life was at times difficult, but he carried on. Then about 2 years ago, he suffered another setback. I wasn't aware of this reality, but heart transplants don't usually last for decades, I'm told. I had thought that since he had the heart of a 20-something-year-old now, he was good for the rest of his life, long into his 70s, 80s, and 90s. But sadly, that is not true. When Darcy had one of those blips on the radar screen, his team of doctors began those hard conversations that he was now facing a rather shortened time frame. They were saying between 1 and 5 years of life left. It also appeared that he was not going to be a candidate for yet another heart transplant. It was indeed an awfully hard pill to swallow. When Darcy recovered emotionally of sorts from that news, he sat down and he started writing his bucket list. A cruise to Hawaii was on the top of the list. Seeing Theo graduate from high school and college was there as well. Well, the cruise happened. He and Gay enjoyed their time away. Theo graduated from high school, but is still working on the college degree. Now, I want to thank Darcy for accomplishing something else that he put on his bucket list. He took the time to plan his celebration of life service. I can't tell you how much of a gift that is to his family and friends and to me, his pastor. He took the form that I had offered, and he selected Bible verses to be read, songs to be sung, and even offered some thoughts that he wanted people to hear on the day we celebrated his life. I repeat for you what a gift that was for us as we planned the service. I'd encourage all of us to learn to do the same thing. I would be happy to send the form to you, the same form I offered to Darcy, if you'd like to leave that gift for your family. Just get in touch with me at Shepherd of the Hills. Either call me, 707-448-8599, send an email, soh580@sbcglobal.net, or add in the comments here, and I'll make sure we get in touch. So, back to the form. I can't tell you how many times I have sat with families after death or at a point of death. When grief is so mind-numbing, the thinking is absolutely impossible. And I'll tell you, some of the conversations generally go like this as we're sitting and planning a celebration of life service. So tell me, what was John's favorite Bible verses? Stunned looks, silence. I don't know. Let me think about that. Sure, I'd say. Then a day or two later, I'd get in touch with them again as we were trying to prepare the bulletin, and I would hear, well, we don't know. Just select something that you think would be appropriate. Me selecting is not exactly the same as me knowing more about what somebody would prefer. Now, I can make some educated guesses, and I have done so in the past, but it's not quite the same. Now, when Darcy died, Gay found the form and shared it with me. We all knew what he wanted, and it made that moment less overwhelming. Joan and I, by the way, have also completed our forms. For the first time we did it was when we traveled to Japan for the first time. Now, that may say something more about our anxiety about flying across the water and foreign travel than it actually said about the fact that whether we were dying or not. But we completed the forms. I left one sitting on the desk in the church office. The other form I sent to my friend in the synod office and said, these are our wishes, knowing full well that he would have been involved in planning. When we survived the trip and came home, I remember calling the synod and saying to my friend, you can recycle those plans. We'll be writing something different probably in the years to come. And we have. We've replaced those forms 3 times now. If you happened to tune into the service yesterday, you heard the lessons that Darcy picked. 2 Timothy chapter 4, I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. And John 11, Jesus saying, I am the resurrection and the life. Those who believe in me, even though they die, will live. 2 very powerful readings about the power of faith and leaning on God, the promise God makes to Darcy and us in our baptisms. Darcy certainly did fight the good fight. He finished the race. He kept the faith, even when life was troublesome and it would have been easy to have given up. He kept the faith when his son Sean was killed in action in Iraq. He kept the faith when he was given a short time to live. He fought the good fight, not giving into it when it would have been so easy to just stop and say no more. Then finally on October 7th, 2 weeks ago this morning, he cashed in on the baptismal promise God made when Jesus opened the door and with arms wide open said, Darcy, come. And to follow up on that Timothy text, receive the crown of righteousness that is yours. Darcy, I will remember you, not just as a faithful disciple of Jesus Christ, not just as a fighter of the good fight, not just as one who kept running the race even when you were winded, not just as one who knew that Jesus is the resurrection and the life, but also as one who wanted to provide just one more gift for his family and friends, the gift of plans for the celebration that we would have to remember you. It's a great lesson to teach all of us who carry on afterwards. Help plan your time, your service, your farewell. What would you like people to know? What verses are important to you? What songs really touch your heart? Please, I urge you, if you haven't filled out a form and given it to me or to your pastor, please do so. It helps a lot. I look forward to seeing you on Sunday. It'll be Reformation Sunday for us here at Shepherd of the Hills, so wear some red. And as you're wearing red, take a picture of yourself and then post it on the Shepherd of the Hills Facebook page. It'll be great to see all the sea of red for people. And until then, remember, please wash your hands 20 seconds at a time, a couple, 3, 4 times a day. And when you finish drying your hands off, you could use hand lotion to keep them nice and soft so they don't crack and fall apart. Most importantly, keep loving one another. Wear your masks as a sign of love for others. When you're with your family, your housemates, Those who live in the same home as you, oh, take the mask off, get as close as you can, love one another, hug, embrace, all of those things. And of course, Sergeant Esterhaus dismisses every one of us every day with the words, be careful out there.